Welcome back to the channel again, everybody. Todd, Southern Sipper here, coming to you once again from the front porch. This is my favorite place to do these, especially on days like today. We had a storm front rolled through just to the east of us, so we didn't get all the rain, and it kind of cooled it off. I mean, it was screaming hot earlier today, but man, it's just really pleasant out this evening. So this is a treat for me today. I ran in my favorite grocery, Rouse's. It's between here and work, and I had to run into work. Today is a Saturday, the 20th of May, for reference. I need to pick up a couple of things, and I had to run into the office and just do a quick check on some stuff I was working on. If you caught a couple of videos or a video earlier, I might have mentioned it had a little issue with one of my 5 wells out at the gardens. But anyway, just kind of mindlessly pacing up and down the beer aisle, and I found an old favorite, Founders Robust Porter. So full disclosure, obviously, you know that I'm familiar with this one. It's an old favorite. I hadn't had one in a long time, and by long time I mean just pre-COVID. Founders, I think, was adversely affected more than a lot of other people, with supply chain and whatnot for a little while, and getting their 2 best beers, well, I shouldn't say their 2 best, but they make a lot of good beer. My 2 favorite beers, the Robust Porter and the Breakfast Stout, and 2 quick stories about those whilst we pour this Robust Porter. My first experience with the Breakfast Stout, I was in a little pub with my wife one day for lunch. And, it was lunch. I hadn't had much or anything at all to eat yet that day. And we stopped in, and I can never remember the correct order. It's a nifty little place in Charleston, or Somerville, which, it's just a suburb, called Duck and Dog, or Dog and Duck. I think it's Duck and Dog. But they're pet friendly, and we always have a little dog with us. And oh, look, breakfast. It was on the tap list. And I said, breakfast stout, got to be good. Breakfast, it can't be too much. So, and it was absolutely delicious. And I pounded through the first one like it was, half a glass of water, and ordered another one, and I was racing my way through that one because they were just really good. And then I went ahead and ordered a third, and I was working on the third one, and they just about the time they brought the food, and I realized something wasn't up, so I looked it up, did the quick Google search. Yep, 8.3% first thing in the day. I powered through it like a man, and it was a power nap early in the day that day, suffice it to say. But anyway, we'll tell the other story here in a few minutes. That's as dark. That's stout dark. This thing is jet black almost. And it does have a nice caramel tan colored head. It's obviously fairly lightly carbonated, which is traditional for the style to not be, super fizzy. Oh God. On the nose, you can smell some of the roasted malt, and there is a hint of coffee. I don't really pick up much chocolate, but it does have, and I can tell you, there's some coffee on the finish there too. Now this one, it's up front. It's heavy and sweet, and you can really taste the deep roasted malts and all that sort of thing. I keep bumping my tripod, but it's because I'm not a professional. Now there is no lack of hops in this one. To be an absolute favorite, it would need to be a little bit light, go a little bit lighter on the hops, but it's not enough. I mean, it kind of cuts through the heaviness a little bit, and that's probably good with this one. And I failed to mention, it is 6.5%. I couldn't find out any real info, on the hops bill or the grain bill or anything on that. But this is a solid porter. I mean, it's definitely an American style porter with the extra hop presence. But it's bready and yeasty and all that up front. And it is, I mean, it's a big beer. I mean, it's 6.5%, which is not ABV wise enormous, but flavor wise, this thing is it's packed. I mean, there's a little of everything going on in this glass, but it's everything I like. It's not, nothing really outweighs anything else on this thing. It's pretty well balanced, but it is balanced slightly towards being hoppy. So keep that in mind if you decide you want to go out and look for one. Now I'm going to do the breakfast stout here at some point. I just got to man up and buy the 4-pack. I tend to shy away from 4-packs, for 12 or 13 bucks because it's just not cost effective. But every once in a while, for a treat, a nice imperial stout is always a good thing. Do this one more time and then we'll wrap this one up. Yeah, I think I've about covered it. Now, I didn't mention where Founders was, and I can't remember. It's in the northern U.S. I want to say they're like in Michigan or somewhere. And looking at the website, it appears that they have done some changes to their labeling now, which is the other story. This one has the lady on it, and the breakfast stout bottles used to have a baby on them. And my good friends in South Carolina, Roger and Marty, they weren't beer drinkers much at all. Now Roger, he loved his Yingling. And they came around one day to, visiting at the house. And I was drinking an old favorite that they no longer make anywhere anymore. And it was probably still the best beer. If I could only have, at the time, if I could only have one, that'd have been it. It was a stout from Tallgrass called Buffalo Sweat. And I shared one with them and they, wow, this is not what I expected from a beer, but they just weren't familiar, like a lot of people aren't. And then when they quit brewing, Buffalo Sweat, they went on a quest to find a replacement, and they stumbled upon Founders, the Robust Porter, and the Breakfast Stout. And Marty could never remember the name of either one of them, so she called them Baby Beer and Lady Beer. And this is the Lady Beer. So there you have it. And they knew her well enough at Total Wine and the other beer store that when she came in, she would, the guys in there were familiar with her. Did you get any lady beer in? Post-COVID when it was tough to get anything. All righty, well, that's enough rambling, storytelling. Let's wrap this one up. Suffice it to say, this is one I do enjoy, and I've been in a bit of a rut of late with stuff I didn't like. So anyway, this is pleasant. So as always, like, subscribe. You know the drill. Hit the buttons. Leave a comment. Tell your friends. And always enjoy your adult malted beverages responsibly.